Where I am now, I'm in a special place, a tender warm embrace, where I am now. Good evening. It is a beautiful evening and a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm Yolanda Hinton, host of FYI After Dark. I tell you what, we're going to have a great show for you this evening. In the meantime, we want to welcome you Facebook Live, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. YouTube, I hope I didn't leave you out. Anyway, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. You can always go to our newest channel on YouTube at FYI Radio Show Live and hosted by Yolanda Hinton, or you can follow us on that same platform at Crystal Records One, Cristo Records One. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, and follow. And we promise we will follow you back. I tell you what, it's been a minute since we've been live here on the After Dark show. We've been doing our replays and trying to get things together, making sure we are just giving you the best on our morning shows and all the rest of the things that we do. And now we want to kind of focus again on our After Dark shows. Come on live. Come on with some great segments. And especially this segment right here, which is our hot topics. And today we have a very special guest that I want to introduce. Her name is Alicia Bennett. I was calling you Alicia, and I got it a little wrong. I tried to correct it, but I got it. I think I'm getting it right. Alicia Bennett. She's the dating mechanic. She's a relationships coach. And she's got a whole lot of things going on. I've been wanting to have her back here since the last time, which was a minute. Alicia, it's been a minute, right?
In a minute.
On Absolutely. The radio show and everything. And I am so glad to finally have you back up here. You know, Valentine's Day went by, and I always think about you because I said, oh, I would love to have you on to talk about relationships and love and Valentine's Day and all that good stuff. And it seemed like our timing wasn't, right on at the time, but we finally got a chance to get back with each other. And I am so glad to have you. How are you doing this evening?
I am well, and thank you for having me. Yeah, it's been a while. I came on the show when it was on the radio, and we did that whole thing. So it is nice to always be back on a show that is uplifting and that welcomes me back. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, 11 years with FYI Radio Show, and so many topics, segments, and wonderful things going on the radio show. And I decided to expand it, of course, to social media. That's where a whole lot of you are on, and a lot of you kind of like live here on social media. It's good to be here with all of you all. We're going to shout you out in a little bit. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support. And so, yeah, we're here. We're here with the morning show at 9:30 a.m., Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then the After Dark show. And then there's some other things coming that we want you to enjoy and be a part of. In the meantime, Alicia, we want you to tell us about yourself, and then we're going to get into the topic that you are, the one thing that you're an expert on. I believe you do a lot of things, and we want to hear about some of those things that you do.
Okay. Well, I am a relationship and dating coach, and I've been doing this for, almost 20 years now. Every time I say it, I wow myself. It's like doing this for almost 20 years. I love what I do. It's helping singles, not only find the love of their life, but to understand the partner that they need in their life. And then helping couples be in a place where they can kind of grow that love and make it deeper and stronger. So almost 20 years in, and I love what I do.
You're a mom, a
I
wife.
I am
Yes.
a mom of three.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
right. I know. So we have 20, 25,
Uh-uh.
15, and 11.
You know, when you said 25,
Look, I
I
can
was like,
remember.
well, Alicia, you got to come on FY and tell the truth. You know you don't have no 25-year-old looking like
I
25
do.
years old.
I do. I can't believe in myself.
That is absolutely marvelous. So you have the 25-year-old. The next one
Is 19,
is
18,
18, and then the youngest.
11.
Oh my goodness, a great. You did it right. You had the gap in between.
Mm-mm.
Not so it wasn't.
I wish I would have had them all, all together so that it wouldn't be so far apart. So they're like
Yes.
8 years. They're about 8 years apart, something like that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I tell you what, uh, the subject and you being a coach about relationships and love, that's hard. But I can imagine being a mother was a full-time position, still is, and it takes a lot to be able to manage, a home and children. It's a joy, but it takes a lot to manage a family.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just, the relationship dynamics, you never stop being a parent. You never stop, caring for your kids and doing for them. It just becomes a different relationship. So now, my two oldest girls, we just have a different relationship. Now it's not always, mom telling them what to do. It's them coming to me and saying, Mom, what should I do about this? What
Wow.
should I do about this? So it becomes a different relationship and I love it.
Absolutely. I want you all to make sure you put something in the chat, say hello. Let me shout out a few folk. King's daughter, good evening. Amina, good evening. Let's see, we have Brooks, good evening. Amanda, how are you? Amanda, Nicholas, Shadow. I can't get the second part, it went so fast. Sean S. Hines. Angie, Lakeisha, Johnson, Scott, Bad Friend, all you all, Henny Man, hey Henny Man, all you all that are on, thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for your support throughout the years and, as long as we've been on these platforms. Um, it is just a joy to talk with you because, like I said, relationships are just amazingly complicated at times. Before we do that, I want to know how you got into becoming a coach, a relationships coach. How did that come about?
Divorce.
Mm.
so yeah, divorce. I got married at a time where I thought it was um the next piece of my journey. I was a young mother, unwed mother when I had my first child, when I had my oldest. And, I got back on my feet, got my good credit going, ready to buy a house, was a successful business owner. I was a natural hairstylist. And, I said, God, what is the next, step for me? And what I thought I heard was, oh, you need a partner.
Mm.
Right, you need somebody in your life that's going to help rear your child and be a role model for her, and do it the right way. People say, you did it the wrong way, you did it backwards, you do it the right way. And so I said, oh, okay, well, this is the journey that we're on. And the next person that came into my life, I was like, oh, they must be God sent. And so that's who I decided to be in relationship with. And when I got into that relationship, realizing that I didn't know anything about marriage. I didn't know
Wow.
anything about being married or in a relationship for the longevity of it. And so I started reading and researching and going to conferences and, all of those things, the 5 love languages, went to Gary's conference in North Carolina, and it just sparked from there. So, we end up getting a divorce because I started doing the work and understanding that, oh, this isn't the person that I should have married.
Yes.
And it was a lot because at that time, being a minister in the church and, feeling that guilt of letting people down and, all of that weighed very, very heavy on me. And it took longer than it should have to leave that relationship. And it took longer than it should have to not feel guilty about leaving that relationship and wanting something more and wanting something better than what I had. And it's so interesting because now that our daughter is in college and she's grown, like he calls me all the time. Like, is it like there's no love lost now, right? It took us a journey to get
Yes.
right because we didn't like each other. It was a battle. But
So would you say it takes maturity sometimes to be in a relationship? Maybe at that time, maybe both of you all, do you think both of you all had some growing up to do to get at this place of being able to, communicate as parents, co-parent?
Oh yeah, because at first when emotions are high and we're not thinking logically, we're not thinking about what's best for the children or what's best for the situation at hand, we can be apart, and not be together in a romantic relationship, but still have a thriving parental relationship and even a friendship. And so that's one of the things that when I am in session with a couple,
Yes.
and I'm not there to tell you to stay married. I'm not there to tell you to get a divorce. I'm here to help you in whatever manner you would like that relationship to go. So if you say, no, we want to go forward, we want to stick it out, we want to make it work, I'm there for you. If you say, you know what, we don't think this is going to work, I'm there as well to help that transition. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's not what I want.
So Alicia, do you look at, you said you've been doing it for 20 years. Do you look at the beginning of when you first started to now? And have you seen the changes in dating, what it was when you were, first in
Yeah.
the profession? Now you're here 2026. How has it changed, you think?
It's changed. It has changed a lot. And what we do as humans is we go through extremes, right? So, we're either one extreme or the other. So we had all of the passport bros, and then we and then we went through our stage of all the podcast bros, and then it's always one extreme or the other, and we have a hard time with kind of meeting in the middle. And I think that speaks a lot to our emotional intelligence when it comes to relationships and being able to separate the logic that we need to have versus the emotions that we need to have. So yes, I've seen the changes. Not necessarily happy about the changes, the current changes that are going on, as we see that less children are being born now,
Yes.
and that's a concern for me.
Yes.
That's a real concern for me because we are seeing that women are opting to be alone.
Oh,
Women are opting to, stay single and, live with their girlfriends and go on girls' trips. And there's nothing, of course, wrong with that. But I think that there is a special bond that we have with a partner
yes.
that allows us to grow in so many ways, emotionally and mentally, and I think a lot of us are missing out on that. And trust me, if you don't want to be with anybody, I'm not going to force the issue either.
Yes.
I think that there is a missing piece that we are not exploring. Yeah.
Do you feel as though people are afraid to be in relationships now?
Absolutely.
Is that one of the reasons of just fear?
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody wants to be hurt.
Ooh.
Nobody wants to look stupid. Right? You got me out here looking stupid and you with this one and that one, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I'm not knowing what's going on and you cheating on me and all of these other things. There's a fear that people have of, they don't know what's going on with the other person, or they're going to be hurt in some type of way. And sometimes it's not the cheating aspect of it. Sometimes people don't want to open up because they don't want to reveal their scars.
Yes.
They don't, there's a lot of healing that we can do within self, and our partner is a mirror. And sometimes we don't want that mirror put up to us.
Absolutely.
We just don't, because it's painful, right? It's triggering.
So I had a conversation with two people, a young man and a young woman, and they were hoping to be in a relationship together. They met actually on social media, on the World Wide Web, where people are meeting up these days, but had a lot of fear about how to manage to get into, first of all, the dating. They were concerned about how dating would play out first. Then they were concerned about, they had fears about if that person is really real, if it comes through social media. They had a lot of fears. Where do you get started when it comes to a couple, Alicia? What would be one of the first things you would tell a person who wanted to be in a relationship after a divorce or whatever, but they still feel as though nobody can be trusted?
So first, I would say this is the time where you slow it down.
Ooh.
And you begin to get clarity within self. A lot of times we are looking for external answers.
Yes.
Where we want to go outside of ourselves and we want to place blame. Oh, it's because the men are not like they used to be anymore. Or it's because the women only are focusing on their education and money. But when we really sit with ourselves and we say, you know what happened in my last 3 relationships that caused them to fail? What am I choosing in my life that is not of benefit to me? Right? So looking within and getting that clarity within self. So I would say sit with self first. That is the very first thing you need to do, is sit with self and figure out, what is it that I want from a relationship? Why do I want a relationship? Back when I had hair, I would go to the salon. There was a young lady there that had colored my hair that day. And she was like, oh, I'm getting married, but she had some, doubts and fears and all these things. And I asked her, I said, well, why are you getting married? Like, I wasn't trying to discourage her from being married. I was simply asking, why do you want to get married? And it baffled her. She was like, you know what? I don't know. I think my parents and my community, my church, everybody expects that from me. And so she really had to sit, like the rest of the time, she was just kind of quiet because she was thinking within herself, yeah, why do I want to get married? What is the benefit to me? And of course, there's always benefits to marriage and being in a relationship with somebody, but you have to figure out what those benefits are for yourself.
Yes. I had a conversation with a group of young ladies. I mentor young women. And I was doing a program, Malaysia, called Dating and Emotions, Interpersonal Relationship. And I was kind of like trying to explain to them that, relationships, I felt personally that relationships should have a plan. I feel like sometimes we're just winging it, or we don't have enough information about, what it takes to be in a relationship. I just wanted to know, do you feel as though people go blindly into it? Should there be a plan? When I talk with them, I mentioned about having a plan, but I also talked about, how you see yourself in a way dealing with a partner and, dealing with sex and things like that. I was saying, even a plan for that, meaning who you are going to be with, who would you trust your body to? Why not, have all the tools in the world to know when it's a good choice to be with someone like that intimately or not? I just felt like it was a plan. Some of them looked at me like, what you talking about? This thing's supposed to be spontaneous. And, like, what do you think about that? Do you think it should take having a coach or some kind of, someone talking with you, counseling you about, those steps?
Mhm. Absolutely. I think that you should have a plan in all things. I even tell people they should have a budget. What's your
Oh,
dating budget?
oh,
Especially when we're talking about men, because they are the ones most of the time that are paying for these dates. So, what is your dating budget? How much do you spend every month, and how intentional are you with the dollars that you're spending when it comes to dating? Because it's easy for you to wine and dine a woman, but what activities are you doing that's going to further the connection with you? So there's four different types of dates that you can go on to gather information about
yes.
someone. You have a date like a escape room.
Mm,
That's a different type of date where you're trying to figure out, how does this person receive information? Are they able to take direction from someone else? How are they when it's a timed situation or a tight situation? How do they perform under pressure?
mm,
So using a date in that manner will allow you to see how that person acts and reacts
mm,
when we're in a situation. And of course, it's not going to be a full on, um, picture of what that person would do in every situation. But when put under pressure,
yes.
how do we react? Right.
Right.
So there's a couple of different types of dates that you should go on, but you should definitely have a plan.
Mhm.
A lot of people go into dates and they don't ask the right questions that they need to ask in order to see if this person is the right person for them from the get-go, right? So I wrote a book. It's called Seven Key Questions to Ask on a First Date. Now,
Oh,
I've always disliked that title. Let me tell you why. Always disliked that title because I wish it was seven key questions to ask before a first date. Because before you even go on a first date, you should be having conversations with that potential person to see if they even fit your criteria. A lot
oh,
of people just want to go on the first date and I want to vibe and I want to feel and I want to, see if there's any chemistry but all of those things are chemical reactions that you're having within your body. Are you thinking logically about whether this person is someone that should even have your time,
yes.
right? So yes, I do believe that you should have a plan.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. So you have some things. I noticed you have some things on your page, and you're talking about dating and the rules and all that kind of. How do young men and women receive these things as you coach them? How do they are they open to it? Is this generation that you deal with? And we're going to talk about those in the past, the older generation, but those that you deal with, maybe young adults. How receptive are they to rules?
Well, what I first want to say is I don't really deal in rules.
Mhm.
I don't, deal in the 90-day rule, not to have sex. I don't deal with it. I don't deal in those types of situations. I deal more in tools, giving people the right tools so that they can make the right decisions. And of course, the first thing is understanding and knowing yourself. So when you understand what you want from a relationship, then you can say, okay, this is my boundary on this. And this is
Mhm.
my boundary on that, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to let that person cross that boundary. So it's more of that for me than it is for, rules of dating because everybody's different and
Yes.
everybody doesn't want the same relationship.
Wow.
Right?
So
Um,
true.
some people want to get married just for the money. Other people want to get married for love. So everybody wants to be in different types of relationships as well. So we want to make sure that, we're not putting everybody in a box, right?
Absolutely.
Letting people choose their path because it is their journey, right? Um, but I feel that if that person is in a place where they are struggling in dating and they're open to it, they're going to receive the information. And they're going to change how they're doing things. You know what? You have to be sick and tired but you got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because that's when you change something about yourself. People say that change comes, in different ways. Change comes when pain is involved.
Mm,
If you are tired of, being cheated on, you're tired of, ending up losing it all. If
yes,
you're tired of always being drained emotionally when you're in relationships, that's when things begin to change, when you no longer want to feel the hurt.
yes. I wanted to know about something that you said earlier. You were saying, the you said men usually are the ones that's picking up, the check, and they're doing the most when it comes to dating. Has that changed? I mean, are women now putting the bill? Are they going out and whining and dining the man? Is that too much away from the traditional way and how we have done things in the past?
So the ladies are going to get me for this, okay? Ladies are going to get me for this. However, no, to first answer your question, no, I don't think that things have changed much. I think that men are still paying for dates, for the majority of it. I do believe that there are some progressive women out there who feel like I want to pay for the date because I don't want to feel like I owe you anything. And
Mm,
so let me go ahead and pay my portion so that, we can both leave. And if we decide that we don't want to deal with anybody anymore, we had a clean break. So we have more of that happening. But I think for the most part, men are still, doing the chivalrous thing and and
yes,
paying for dinner. However, what I will say, ladies, is it's nice for a man to pay for dinner. It's always been this discussion of, well, if I want to go here or there, he should pay for it, and I should be able to do that, and all of these things. I would just say this to the ladies because I don't want to preach it. I want to teach it. When a man is looking for a woman that he wants to be serious about and date on a serious level, now I'm not just talking about any man. I'm
yes,
talking about a man that wants to date on a serious level. He is looking for a woman who is going to take care of him in ways that are different
mm,
when it's the other way around. Okay. So if you take care of a man's finances from the beginning, he's already seeing you as someone different. Now, what do I mean by that? You're not out here with $300 dinners.
mm-hmm,
You're not out here with let's go to drinks every day. You can take a walk in the park. Right? You can
yes,
grab a burger, right? You can grab
yes,
a pastry, or a cup of coffee. A quality man is going to receive that, and they're going to say, you know what? This is somebody who wants to build with me. They want to take what I have and they want to multiply it. They don't just want to spend up everything that I have.
yes.
So, ladies, I'm just saying, not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you a tool that if you just switch around your thinking just a little bit, because trust me, and this is what I say to men. If you start off with the $300 date, the expectation is that you're going to do more.
Yes.
So start off with the coffee date. I tell people, do appetizers. Why do
Yes.
appetizers? Because it's not a whole dinner, right? You don't have to sit through dinner. You don't have to be like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then they never see you again, right? Go for an appetizer date. That way, after the 15 or 20 minutes, if you don't want to be with that person, you can leave. Okay.
Mhm.
Out, or
Yes.
thanks for the appetizer, and you keep it moving. But if the conversation is great and you want to spend more time, then you can progress into dinner. So I'm just saying.
Yes. What about status? Say that, okay, this lady, she got it going on. She's a boss. She meets this real fine fella. He's got it going on as far as looks. He's real, has, great manners and, etiquette. He just looks the picture of perfection. But he don't have two nickels to rub together. What about that type of person? What advice would you give to a lady who, seeing somebody and he's just, haven't got there yet financially?
So it depends on what's important to her. So
Mm,
there are a lot of women that their They don't want a man that makes more than them.
Ah.
They want a man who's going to be there for her emotionally, who's
Mm.
going to understand her when she comes home from, working her high profile boss lady job.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That, he's going to sit with her and say, "How was your day?" Something as simple as that. Rub her feet, or, really be able, she can laugh and she can let her hair down. We all want the same things at the end of the day. So, you have to know what you want from a relationship, because everybody doesn't want the same thing. A high profile woman doesn't want to compete with a high profile man.
Ooh.
Okay. So, Bay and I have this thing, you know, somebody got to make the bacon, but somebody got to cook it in the
Yes,
pan. You know what I'm
I like
saying?
that. Yes,
Right? If I'm
yes.
making, you got to fry it. You know what I mean? So, we're supposed to be working together as a team. As a team. So this person needs to figure out what they're good at and what they bring to the table, which is the relationship.
Yes.
Ladies, I need y'all to stop saying that you are the table. You are not the table. Okay. The table is the relationship. And you
Ooh.
to the table your gifts and your talents and your character and all of those things. What are you doing to help build the table? Right? But you are not the table.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Do you coach older people, um, young adults, and teens? I mean, is it one size fits all, or have you seen where older people may need a little something different? You know, okay, when you are counseling and coaching, do you feel as though some older people just haven't gotten it right yet either, and they need those same tools that you would give a younger person?
So funny enough, it's all across the board. It doesn't matter if
Ooh.
you're young or old. It just depends on how hurt you've been.
Oh.
Yeah. How hurt you've been and how you have, um, as we like to say, healed. But how have you, like I said, sat down with yourself and realized what you need from a relationship? So some people just like, you know what? I know what I need. I just don't know where to go.
Yes,
That's
yes,
a part of dating as well.
yes.
I know the type of man that I want. I know the type of woman that I want to be with. I just don't know where to go to find them. That's, a piece of dating. But also, there's a piece of dating where, you know what, I've been divorced for 5, 7, 10 years, and I'm just getting out there in the dating world, and I don't know what to do. What are they doing now? You know what I mean? What are they doing out there these days? You know what I mean? So, that's more of the seasoned person who, has probably had some relationships in their life. I get some older people sometimes, and they've only had one person in their life.
Oh,
See what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it just depends on what situations that person has gone through, and it can range from the youngest to the most seasoned.
yes. As a coach, what makes you more frustrated with people when it comes to coaching them about relationships, love, and dating? What's the most thing that you hear? It's like, now listen, I'm tired of this.
There's a lot, but there's a lot. Because but at one point it was everybody was a narcissist, right?
Wow.
Everybody was a narcissist. So I'm glad that has died down. Thank God for that. But I think what frustrates me, probably probably when we try to blame others and not take
Mm.
accountability for self. I think that's the biggest part of, like I said, people get upset with me when I say, yeah, they may have done that, but what did you do in the relationship? And I'm not trying to place blame, because it could have been that you could have done something differently.
Oh,
So there's a book called Let Them. Have you read that book
I
before?
have not.
So the lady's name is not coming to my Mel. Mel is
Mhm,
her first name. So the book is the let them theory, right?
mhm.
Allowing people to do what they do without being affected by it.
Okay. Oh,
And so every action does not need a reaction. So how are we moving, positioning ourselves so that we are not being affected by every little thing
Yes.
that in our life is doing,
Mm.
right? Um,
Yes.
so yeah, that's what frustrates me.
It's a blame game. It's like,
Yes.
uh-huh.
Yes, and not taking accountability for the actions that either you took or didn't take, because
Mm.
sometimes you not doing anything is doing something.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Even though you didn't do it, you didn't
Yes.
do it. Right? So,
Absolutely. Talk about these dating shows. Have you checked them out? You find love on a show. You go and you marry a person in 90 days, and what do you think about building a relationship like that? Somebody that's looking for love, and they got these places, these shows set up where you can find all the love in the world. What do you think is going on?
so the show, the shows that they're putting people together, and love at first sight, and
Yeah.
I think they would be good shows if they weren't geared towards viewership
Okay.
and trying
Oh,
to
yes.
entertain people, right? Because it is a good concept if you have a relationship coach, or a therapist, and a wardrobe person, or somebody that is helping these people emotionally with their emotional IQ, and seeing two people and saying, okay, they would be a good match because they have the same ideals, they have the same characteristics, and they can work together well. But when you're doing something for entertainment, of course, it's not gonna come out well. So I don't usually watch those shows, just because that's just like, you ask the cop, oh, so you be having all these high speed chases, and they be like, oh, that's just on a TV. That's
On
not real.
TV.
So that's kind of how I think about it.
Malaysia, what is a good first date? Say, hey, oh, I want to do something special. I want to take this lady out, or what's a good? What would you come up with to make it real interested and to make an impression on that person?
What did they say in the conversations before the date that you could do something to make it special? So
Oh,
it could be simply dinner.
mhm.
However, what gift did you bring that, they said something, a story about a ducky or something like that, and you guys chuckled about it, and then you bring a duck to the date. You know what I mean? Kind
Yes,
of thing, and it reminds you of the conversation that you had, something thoughtful, right?
yes,
They had mentioned, oh, I love the beach, and it just makes me calm. It's just serene. It's just, whatever. And then
yes,
you take them to the beach. So it's listening to someone. That's why I say you should have these conversations before you go on a first date, so that people are not just sitting across the table from each other going, so how was your day? So how was your
mm,
day? So, what I mean? And you have nothing to talk about over dinner,
absolutely.
and everybody's just eating quietly because they don't know what to ask. They don't know, anything about that person. So have those conversations beforehand, so that when you go out on a date, it's more of an extension of a conversation
Yes,
instead of trying to start a conversation.
yes. Now you said you've written a book. Tell me about what you've written and what can we expect when we do receive your wonderful book.
I've written several.
I figured that. I just wanted to. I know you mentioned. I said, she got about a library. She got a library full of books already.
Library going on. So, uh, Dear Future Spouse was my first book. It is
Mm.
a 30-day journey. It is a 30-day journey to love. And
Oh,
journal. And so for 30 days, you are looking deeper within inside self to figure out, who is it that I want to marry? Who is it that who's the best person for me based on what I need from a relationship? Um, and then there's 7 key questions to ask on a first date. That's my heart and my love.
oh my goodness.
It's
Yes,
a very short book. It's
yes.
not long at all. I call it the bathroom read, right? Because you go to the bathroom,
I
read it.
like that.
Oh, okay. I got some information. I got something I can take away. So it tells you the 7 questions that you should be asking when you first meet somebody, or before you go on a date, or when you go on a date, you should have these questions like you know them like the back of your hand, so that you're being able to um, properly say, this is somebody that I want to explore more with.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh no, this is somebody that's not, for me. They don't want kids, or, you know, they're not settled in their career to the point where they're happy with themselves. You learn a lot from the questions that you ask, and you can spawn, into other questions from there.
Yes. Do you ever speak to teens, and how do they receive relationship, advice?
Teens are a little bit more tricky because they don't have any experience, right? And so you have to kind of talk to them in the terms of, more preventative measures. So,
Mhm.
be careful, make sure that, you are, protecting yourself sexually. You talk about, sexual misconduct, right?
Yes.
On dates and stuff like that. You talk about not being so intense.
Oh,
As a teenager, we have all these intense feelings, and we just want to pour them out, and and
yes.
talk about intensity. I just I wish that the schools would talk more in relationships instead of sexual education.
Oh,
They can,
very good. Absolutely.
right?
Mm,
What are we talking about when it comes to relationship, and not just romantic relationships?
mhm.
How you relate to your teachers, right?
Yes.
How are you relating to authority, or relating to one another and other students? Why do we have so much bullying going on?
Mm.
Why do we not have more relationship coaches inside these schools who are regularly talking and having conferences and things with these kids to allow them to understand their feelings? Because at that young age, they really don't understand all these chemical reactions that are even going on inside of them.
Yes. I just wonder sometimes, when we talk about relationships, it seems like it's complicated, like you said, across the board, with all kind of interpersonal relationships. Um, I'm just wondering how how come something so good, which is love and wanting to come together, gets so out of whack? How does it go so wrong? How does it, how does it just take so much effort to try to manage and keep relationships going? Something that's supposed to be so good. Have you figured that part out?
Anything worth having, you're going to
Yes.
have to work at. And what
Oh,
I find that is people don't want to do any type of work.
oh my.
They don't want to work on self. They don't want to work in a relationship. They don't want to. Right? So they're just ready to give it all up. You didn't twist the tie on the bread the right way, and I'm done with this relationship. You know what I'm saying? So, like I'm tired of it. You left the door open again, and I just can't live like this anymore. You know what I mean? So,
What keeps you excited about coaching, though? Tell me what is it that you love so much about it?
I love seeing people get their aha moments about, why that relationship didn't go right, or what I can do differently, or oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that I was doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When they get their aha moments, that makes me feel like I'm helping them get through, to the next stage of where they need to go.
Yes. You mentioned the stats on, birth. It's going down. What about marriage? Are people getting married, like they used to? I know I just went to a wonderful, beautiful engagement, ceremony, and I was like, "Ooh, people are still getting married." But do you see those numbers going down?
No. So marriage has always hovered at the, not always, but in the recent years has hovered at the 50% mark, but people have to realize, statistics are tricky things, right? Because
Yes.
are we talking about first time marriages, third time marriages,
Yes, absolutely. I get it.
married and remarried all the time. And so, yeah, it kind of stays at that number. It fluctuates just because people are constantly getting married. People are also always also constantly getting divorced. So, it's just kind of a balancing act when it comes to that.
Yes. Tell me about, okay, we always think about male, female. Are we talking any more of coaching or, giving advice to LGBT people that it's people are people, but I'm saying the dynamic is a whole different thing. Are these relationships, are they more complicated than the average um, relationships? Do you think? Do you know?
So the funny thing about that is that they get divorced at the same rates that everybody
Oh,
else gets divorced at. You know what I mean?
oh,
It's no different
uh-huh.
for them because it's still relationships. So
Relationship.
whatever fears you have, whatever
Yes.
triggers you have, right? Whatever it is that you don't want to see, about yourself, it's still
Yes.
there. What's the constant? You.
Ooh, ooh, that's the truth.
Are the constant
Absolutely.
in any relationship that you're in. So it isn't different in that sense. Do they deal with different issues as far as, maybe some discrimination and, those types of things? But then there are other type of couples, Black couples that, have discrimination, and so it just depends on the dynamic of that relationship. But relationships across the board are just what they are.
Yes,
Can be complicated.
absolutely. Tell us what you got going on. What's happening? You have any seminars or anything going on anytime soon?
I do. I have one going on. If you go to Eventbrite, I have a seminar going on the 23rd, so on Wednesday, so in 2 days. Um, that I'm doing there. I also have a subscribe group on Facebook.
Tell us about it.
It is the Dating Mechanics Lab, and that's where you're going to get all of your clarity about dating. And so you come into the lab, and we start to dissect. Like I said, what is it that you want from a relationship? What's keeping you from the love of your life? And you learn lots of things about yourself so that you can become better. And you get to decide whether you want to continue on your journey of being with somebody, or you just like, you know what, I'm good here. I'm good here for a little bit. I'm just going to work on me and do me. Um, but it's in the mind of clarity, wherever that clarity leads you.
Yeah. So for the event, tell us, what do you register for that, and what can you expect from that particular event you just mentioned, the first one?
So with that event, it's really talking about clarity. What is it that you're trying to achieve right now? Why is it that when you go out on dates, it's not going anywhere?
Yes.
So you've just left a date, and why isn't this working out for me? Why is this person not someone that I'm not even halfway interested in? How
Mhm.
come I'm leaving this date and I don't know anything about this person? Right? Why can't I make a decision one way or another on whether I want to spend more time with this person? So that's what we'll be talking
Oh,
about.
that is very, very good. I see you on the social media streets looking so good and really loving the things that you're teaching people. How do you like social media as far as, being able to reach out to more people? I mean, you got all the people in the whole wide world up here. How do you feel about this tool, social media, and marketing what you do?
Boy, Beyonce's internet is really interesting. It's quite the interest there. No, I feel like the right people who are looking for what I have to offer
Yes.
will come in contact with me. I'm a strong believer in that. If you enjoy my content, if you like my content, of course, follow and subscribe so that you can get more of it. Um, my goal is to help you get clarity, and if I do that with at least one person, I've done, I believe, my job.
Absolutely. Give us some information where we can subscribe. I mean, you already gave us this subscribe, but is there anywhere on those other platforms, TikTok? Where can people find you at?
So it's on everything. It's the dating mechanics. So whether you have Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, it's the dating mechanic. And you can follow me on any one of those platforms that you wish. YouTube, I have a podcast up there, and
Oh, tell us about that because I saw that and I did not even know you had a podcast. Tell us about the podcast.
So the podcast is, the Dating Mechanics Show, and it's on all of your favorite podcast places. So, Apple Music and Google and all the things, right? And you can go and listen to the shows. I've had some really beautiful people on my show that have been talk about emotional intelligence and, even buying a home with your spouse
Ooh.
and doing that in a way that you're both communicating and you're understanding what each one wants, from that home and being able to communicate in that way. So lots of shows. I've had some other relationship coaches on there and we talk about some things as well. So if, go on YouTube and check out the show and.
Yes, that is it ever live or
those shows are recorded.
They're recorded, but we can go to YouTube and we can find it. Oh, I'm going to check it out. Want you all to do that as well. Your books, where can we get them?
All on Amazon, my dear.
Yes. Shout them out again. Shout out your books.
Yes, if you go Alicia Bennett and you go on Amazon, you'll be able to find them. My first book was The Dear Future Spouse. I have a whole line of Dear Future here. And you can find 7 key questions to ask on a first date, and you can see my other books there as well. But if you are single, please, please, please get 7 key questions to ask on a first date, because from that book alone, you're going to be able to have better dates.
Oh, I'm going to order some books to give away, if that's okay, to give away to our audience. I would love to order your book. So all I got to do is what? Just go to Amazon.
Just go to Amazon. Click the button.
Those books.
Got Prime. It'll be there in 2 days.
That would be great. How young do you think people should read your books? Because, I have teenage girls I mentor. Sometimes I do buy books for them. But what age would you recommend your books to, be read? What age group?
I would say, they get to 16, 17 years old. They are out there dating and, it's never too early to understand the concept of dating, especially because they're not teaching it really in schools. So if you're out there in this dating world, there should be some questions that you're asking, and that book will let you know what they are.
Do you go speak? Do you go out and speak, or would you go out to speak to?
Absolutely. I speak a lot.
That is marvelous.
I speak a lot, and I'm happy to come to your organization or to your conference and speak. I love this. This is what I do. So.
Oh, that is marvelous. Let's shout some folk out. Dolores Dee, hello. Let's see. Shay. Hello. Angela Wallace. How you been? James Oliver. Hello. Granny. Hello. Mrs. Cummings. They're saying hi to you. Bravo, Gloria, Miss L. Johnson. It's a lot of folks. Top Man. So many folks. Nate Cherry. They're saying hi, Giorgio, Jay. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for your support. Some of the folks that I can't see on Facebook Live at this moment, but make sure you say something in the chat. Or if you need information about Ms. Bennett, we have it there. Mrs. Bennett will give you, more information of her special occasions and things like that. So if you want to, you can go to Facebook. We have a link up there to her name, or anything you want and need from her. You all make sure you all inbox her. Again, she's going to give us that contact information, and you all can go and check her out and let her know, hey, yeah, I'm coming, I'm watching, I want those books, and I need help because I've been winging it. And so Look, when I think about it, I'm like, I really believe that people need information, knowledge, and coaching. I do. I think one of the main reasons folks are in the mess because they will not get coaching and counseling that they need. I feel like if you start off seeking to do good in a relationship, I know you're going to make mistakes and you may be, in a place where, you don't trust her. If you get the help you need, I believe you can make things work and you can be better off, and we need folk like you, Mrs. Bennett, letting us, know about ourselves and how we can do it right. Give us some last words. Last words to the ladies. Give some last words to the brothers.
Okay, okay. Some to the ladies and some to the brothers. I will say, ladies, you have more power than you think you have when it comes to the dating world. And I'm not talking about the power of I need it this way and I want it my way and all of that. I'm talking about the power of presence.
Yes.
We have the power of presence.
I like that.
So much can be done just by being still.
Oh.
So I just want you to keep that in mind. And fellas, fellas, I want you, fellas, I want you to, now that we have come into this stage where guys are more open to, receiving advice and receiving coaching and dating and all of that, information, I want you to be true to you. I don't want you to be so hurt or in a place of hurt that you can't, not only receive the information, but use it for your dating life. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on. One more time, your books can be bought on Amazon, and the name of the books.
we have 7 key questions to ask on the first date, and we also have Dear Future Spouse. You can find those on Amazon, and it's the dating mechanic everywhere. If you put the dating mechanic inside of Google, it'll all come up for you, my friends.
Wow, that is absolutely marvelous. I'm trying to see if any other thing that we need to know. About the event again, it's coming up.
Yes, they can find on Eventbrite if they go on my page. There'll be a link to it there as well. And come on out. It's virtual, so you don't even gotta put your camera on.
That's marvelous.
Just come on that virtual. But it's some really good information that I will give you. So
okay, that sounds marvelous. I want to say thank you so much for connecting. Thank you so much. We definitely want to support, and I'm definitely going to go get those books. And thank you for doing what you do and helping us to be better with our relationships and things. So you be blessed. You have a wonderful evening, and I hope to really connect with you again.
Thank you for having me.
God bless you. I tell you what, you all make sure you support, please. I mean, if there's nothing else we need, I mean, we know we need God, but we sure do need help when it comes to relationships of all kinds. And so make sure you all get the books, make sure you all check out the podcast, make sure you go to the events, get what you need in order to have a wholesome relationship. Stop dragging around or walking around with the, darkness over you because, you lack, skills to be able to be better in your relationship. You're walking around in bad relationships and you just don't know how to maneuver or get in or get out of it, So make sure you all support. And look, we just thank you all for coming on. I'm going to see you all on Friday, on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday with our men's issues and Fridays with our women's issues. Talk to you soon. Hopefully we will have a guest for our Wednesday show. I will announce it, and you all make sure you join me in the morning, Wednesday morning at 9:30 a.m. Be blessed. We'll see y'all soon. See you, Alicia. Alicia, have a wonderful evening.
Wow, that was a great show. I thank you all for.
All right, look, we're going to see you all, everybody that's on, Jay, everybody that's here. Let's see. here for the fun. That is sweet. I love that. Thank you all so much for coming on this evening on our Monday evening show. Amber, hello. Tosca, I think that's how you pronounce it. Uh, Sexy as F and know it. Uh, let's see. Dolores, Dee Dee. Um, Thank you all for joining me. Thank you for your support. We'll see you soon, okay? Have a wonderful and beautiful evening.